Good evening, everyone. On behalf of High School Moms community and its members, I extend a warm welcome to all the leaders of the school and university education present here. High School Moms started as a Facebook group a couple of years back, and today it has become a movement which is now growing beyond Gurgaon and is present in 10 cities in India now. High School Mom has just joined hands with International Alliance of Counselors and Educators to bridge the gap between the parents and the educators. On one hand, we intend to empower parents with the knowledge and the best practices. On the other hand, we look to engage with the leading educators to collaborate on ideas, practices, and knowledge building. It is also the right moment for me to thank Kunskap Colon International for being thought partner of High School Moms for the year 2020. Our agenda for today's evening is to discuss the challenges and opportunity for students, parents, and educators due to COVID-19. Without taking much time, I request our moderator, Mr. Abhishek Gupta, to introduce our panel and start with the discussion. Mr. Abhishek Gupta is India's leading and the most awarded career coach. He is a Times Education icon and is the founder of International Alliance of Counselors and Educators. Over to you, Mr. Gupta.
Thank you, Divya. All right, so I hope all the attendees are able to listen to us. And if you are, a quick yes in the chat box will be more than sufficient. Thank you, Divya, and sincere gratitude to High School Moms. Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to have all of you here. So my first question to you, Vikram. College Board is present in 180 countries, Vikram. I am sure that you have some data, some facts, where you can tell us whether the scale that which we are seeing in India, is it the same scale outside, or is it worse, or is it better? Are we better off when we compare to the rest of the world? Over to you, Vikram.
Thank you, Abhishek. I hope you can see my screen.
I can. Yes, we can.
Yeah, so it's quite evident from the slide which is presented here that this pandemic started sometime in Feb. But if you look at it today, sometime last week, I would say April 15th, it has affected 191 countries. And those countries have shut down their schools. And here I'm only talking with respect to schools and education, because this panel is largely looking at impact on education and not anything else aside economy or anything else. So 191 countries have shut down schools nationwide. Close to around 1.6 billion learners have been affected. And that is close to around 91% of total learners across the globe as of April 15, 2020. If you look at it, the crisis is actually evolving, but one thing is very certain: our lives will never be same, and nor the field of education once the crisis is over. A month ago, if anyone would have said that education will move entirely online in the coming month, I'm very sure I would have said that probably you are doping something or you are crazy. But the crisis has made it happen. EdTech and virtual education advanced 5-10 years in a matter of weeks. So we are clearly seeing that there is a shift, and globally a huge impact has been on education, so as the entire impact on India. If you look at India here, all the states are closed, all the educational institutions are closed, and a huge impact on the education sector itself in India. Yes, I can hear you, Abhishek.
Okay. So what is the kind of data which is coming out from abroad? Do you really think that even the international education is supposed to stay online for times to come, maybe a whole semester or something like that?
So largely, if you see, everyone is trying their hedging their bets across the globe, and many universities have already rolled out their semester one as online semesters. But a lot of other universities are trying to see what balance they can offer across the globe. Some of them are actually looking at pushing their admission calendar by a quarter, and some of them are actually trying to see if they can provide a blended education online.
All right. Okay, so now let's go to the principles and figure it out. How is it at the educator's end? First question on that is to Ms. Aditi Mishra and Ms. Rupa Chauhan in that order. What kind of impact do you see this year's on this year's academic calendar? Will schools be able to run through the entire curriculum this year, or they will have to cut down on the curriculum? How do you see it, and what do you tell the students and the parents who are really freaked out right now?
Thank you, Abhishek. So the first thing I will tell all parents, whether from my school or any other school, that please don't freak out. Please don't be tense. This is a situation which affects not just one city or one country or one school. It is a global phenomena. So there's nothing we can do to change that. What we can change is the way we respond to it. So the response has to be, I think, a little measured, a little calm, because I think everybody's still figuring it out. The numbers are changing every week. The game plan is changing every week. So we have to take it as it goes. One thing which is very good, which has come out of this pandemic, is that all schools across India, across the globe, are coming together. There are webinars, there are meetings, there are collaborations happening. We are exchanging study material, we're exchanging assignments, videos. So that's a very beautiful coming together, which normally wouldn't have happened, not because we are mean people, but because there's just no time. We are very busy chasing our own calendars. Now, the question of the calendar is a very interesting one, because the calendar consists of not just working days and non-working days or academics. It also deals with co-curricular activities, events, functions, and of course, the dreaded exam. In a situation where we cannot possibly be having events online, I think the exams are also not our top priority right now. I think I've spoken to a large number of schools in the NCR. I'm also the Joint Secretary of the NPSC, the National Progressive School Council. And there also this conversation is going on that studying for the sake of studying without having an exam looming on your head is as fruitful as having to study for an exam. So holding an exam per se, I don't think is a priority. We want to carry on with the curriculum. We want to carry on with academics to the best possible capacity so that children are able to be gainfully engaged. We are very nervous about any notice coming in of school closure for vacation, because I think that will be very detrimental. Right now, there is some kind of a schedule. There is some kind of an academic pattern which the children are following, teachers are following. And I think parents are really appreciating that across the board. Whichever school you may name, every school is doing its best to provide some kind of reading and learning material for children to keep them engaged. If a vacation is declared and that stops, I dread to think what would happen, because children sitting at home with nothing to do is not the happiest situation. So though it is a bit of a strain on these resources that we have, but we want to just plow ahead with the academic calendar, only the academic calendar. The school calendar will be dealt with whenever the school opens. I can't give a date for that. No one can.
Thank you, ma'am. I really respect the fact that you mentioned that parents and students need to calm their nerves and there's nothing to get freaked out.
Yeah.
A big message from Aditi ma'am right there. Rupa ma'am, let's have your views.
So I think Aditi ma'am has outlined it quite well. I'll just add a few points to it. The current scenario is actually a stress test for the society. And we have a lot of fracture points around. What we can best do as a community of learners, educators, is to strengthen the systems, is to build the bridges, strengthen our connect amongst us as educators, amongst us as schools, amongst us as teachers, students, parents, and give the best in the current circumstances. Yes, online education is a way to bridge the gap at present. I think the teams across all schools have been working pretty hard at the back end to ensure that the online deliverables happen in the best possible manner. We will be able to continue with the academic calendar basis the number of days that we have as of now. In terms of the post-scholastic activities, a little bit is being given to the students. However, as we all agree, it is not as effective as to a face-to-face school scenario. In terms of the working days that are there, let's see how many do we get. Definitely, it's a cause of worry for the students who will be going in for the board examinations. But COVID or no COVID, we definitely have plans of actions for them. We do plan to work in the summer vacation with these grades. So I think we will be able to mitigate the loss for the board-bound classes. There is definitely a concern for the current batch, which is just given a few exams and are still awaiting for when the exams will be scheduled. At that point, I think it's our connect, our counselors who are talking to the students, that kind of support that is required. Assessments, least of our concern. However, we are doing formatives side by side as the normal classrooms are going on, because the focus right now is on the skill attainment. It is not on the knowledge retention. So if the children are able to attain the skill that we are looking at, I think that would be a help to us in the journey when the schools reopen.
Wow.
So yes, turbulent times, but we are in it together. And I think we shall.
I am so delighted, I can't tell you. 3,000 parents listening to you right now across the country, and 2 leading educators of India are saying that assessments are least of our concern. And I don't understand why our parents freaked out. That doesn't mean that the students should not put in their honest efforts, but it surely doesn't mean that they will be graded on something which is unprecedented. So hold back, don't panic, don't freak out. You know, the educators are right there with you, and I can see that in the answers that they're giving. Okay, awesome. So one question you definitely answered, both of you, about the assessments and the exams. Let me go to Rima ma'am and Sonia ma'am here. We have heard the CBSE perspective. There are a lot of parents out there, even from the IB fraternity. Can we understand how does the IB calendar looks like? And do you see that we kick off the IB calendar on time this year, which is August, September for you? IB exams have been cancelled this year. So what are the repercussions of that?
Thank you, Abhishek. Yeah, I agree to what Ms. Mishra said earlier. A lot of it is, relates to us also, even though we are an IB school, an international school. But what was different was that we were in the middle of a second term, unlike the schools offering the national board who had finished most of their exams. So we still had our exams, especially for the DP2, the grade 12, and MYP5, which is the grade 10. And we had sort of finished the curriculum, revisions were on, and mocks were happening. And we, as a school, international school, we are supposed to give predicted grades to the IB. So the IB immediately, stepped in, and a lot of guidance and guidelines and updates were shared by the IB, because it's not focused for one country. They have so many across the world. They have so many schools. So a lot of guidance was shared how we could give those predicted grades. And of course, trust plays a very big factor here. And I think the assurances and the updates and the guidelines we got, we all felt very confident of how we have now started uploading the coursework. We got a lot of extensions for uploading the coursework also. So a lot of handholding has been done by the organization. And I think schools have now, prepared the predicted grades, and we will be sharing that with the IB. And a lot of our children have already got offers, which of course will be confirmed once the predicted grades are shared. So that way, I think we have managed our calendar this year, especially for the exam classes. Of course, for the other classes, I think every school has internally, modified the calendar and switched to formatives, summatives, and I mean, exams are not important. That final grade we've all realized is not important at this stage. What from my personal point of view, after talking to my leadership team, we have realized that we transitioned into this online teaching at March 16th, and it's already been a month and another month to go. Ideally, we would have probably finished the school year in end of May, but we are looking at closing about 10-12 days earlier, so that we at least get a break, because we really need to refine the processes. Every day we are learning, so much feedback we are getting as educators. We are overwhelmed with the resources which are coming our way. So I would like everybody to just take a break from the screen for a week, 10 days, come back, regroup, and plan for the new academic year. We will have to modify a lot of our internal deadlines. We'll probably have to change the calendar, knowing very well that we will not be able to have big events. We will not, I don't even know, I can't even say when we will start face-to-face teaching. So probably we will start online teaching in July, but we plan to come back early July and start with the focus on academics. And again, I also want to ensure the parents that they need not worry about those learning gaps or a few concepts or topics which have not been touched. We are more worried about that. We will ensure that those gaps are covered, and we will ensure that the academic rigor does not suffer. We will make the most of the situation we are in at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek.
Yes.
Pretty much to what Rima ma'am said, the IB came out very early on to say that, the diploma program and the middle years program exams were being cancelled. And they came out with a whole different system of assessing the children at the grade 10 and 12 levels. And we are in that whole process of uploading all the assignments and marks and things. That's the two board exams, two board classes taken care of. The other ones, other classes we are going on as per our normal, I wouldn't say normal, our new normal teaching routine. Holding online classes for all our students, which includes academic classes, as well as we are trying to put in some amount of co-curricular classes that we're doing online as well in the afternoons or evenings to keep our children engaged, and that too not only academically, but giving them some lighter moments to also enjoy and relax themselves, because this is a very stressful time for all of us. Most importantly, our children who are not used to being confined in the four walls of their homes for such a long time,
Right.
for such an extended period of time.
And
So,
and ma'am, that at the school level, though IB follows a slightly different calendar than CBSE, do you really see that all the international universities who were supposed to be expecting the IB grades will also be looking at your students very, very leniently?
well, the IB has been in touch with a lot of the universities before they came out with all the proposals and all the changes that they made in the entire grading process. And the IB is very stringent about their entire grading process, because we're not doing examinations. All the internal assessments are being uploaded for external marking. And so that, along with what Rima ma'am said, the predicted grades will go towards the final grade of the students. And it a lot depends on the school, and for here, schools play a very important role, and the schools also know that the IB places a certain amount of trust on them to be very mindful of the kind of grades that they give students, and it is based on accumulation of what they have achieved over grades 11 and 12. So it's not only based on just one exam that they are graded and through which we come to the predicted grades. So therefore, the schools also know that, if at times like this, we are going to start inflating grades or not giving accurate grades, then we will also come into a lot of scrutiny by the IB. So we have to be very careful and very honest with the kind of predicted grades that we give.
Right. Let me take this opportunity to go to Ms. Monica Sagar and Rima ma'am again. You've been telling me that the classes are happening online. So is the case with my son as well. How has been the transition, for you from brick and mortar to online? How easy, how difficult was it as an educator to move the entire content and pedagogy to virtual schooling? And is this the new normal? Is this the new normal that we are looking at, even let's say a year down the line, where parents will have this expectation that, okay, certain things can be done online? Is it the new normal, where even after a year you will be delivering some content online?
Good afternoon, Abhishek. No, I don't think this is the new normal, because online teaching or distance learning can never replace brick and mortar schools. I think the classroom, which has a certain character, a certain relationship between teachers and students, between students themselves, it can never be replaced by a screen. But yes, this is because all of us were suddenly thrown in the deep end. And we had preempted it a little bit. And at my school, at Shivnada School, we were already doing some kind of digital engagement. The children were using iPads in a few classes. We had, these lessons which the children were doing as independent learners. We were using certain platforms already. So children were used to doing a blended kind of learning with some digital and some face-to-face learning. We definitely want the children to come back. I think the children are also dying to come back. The screen is not as personal as a teacher could be, and none of us want this to be the new normal. But yes, education is going to change definitely, just like every other industry. I think the key thoughts here are going to be how to engage the students, which is there in a physical class also. The same questions, how to better engage them, how to make their learning deeper, and what questions to put in their minds. These are young minds that we're molding. And we also need to start thinking of an ecological balance. Maybe that is one thought or thread which has to run through all disciplines. We haven't really given it, that much importance. We've done EVS here and there in primary, environmental science as a subject. It's one standalone domain, but we need to start thinking of putting that down, I think, through all disciplines. That's the need of the hour. And we need to, all minds have to get together to do that.
I think separation makes the heart go fonder, is it? Because I asked my son yesterday, how's it going? And he said, my teachers are so better than our mothers. And I'm like, what? He's like, we really want to go back to school. So, the separation is actually making heart grow fonder, because both the students are saying that we want to go back to school. The school is saying we want to have the children back. And I do not know why our parents freaked out. Reema ma'am, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you're very right, Abhishek, when you say that absence makes the heart grow fonder. Actually, we had been hearing that teachers will get replaced by robots, teachers will get replaced by machines. I think I can safely say that that will never happen, because everybody has realized the importance of a face-to-face interaction with the teacher, that human connect, that social emotional connect which the teachers have. The parents have realized that, the children have realized that, and the teachers have realized that. So as Monica said, yeah, this is the new normal maybe for now. Of course, there will be elements of this which will spill over after COVID, after Corona, as they say, AC time. I'm learning new terms every day. The new normal will include many more things, and online education will be one of those. And we have to see what elements of this online teaching we will continue with, because I really can't say with certainty, or it's actually very uncertain that this can something like this can happen again. We've already faced, loss of face-to-face teaching days due to the pollution, the AQI levels going high. So there are so many other reasons which will be there in our life when we may not be able to, come to school, or there'll be a campus closure. So at the moment, I think we should keep this in mind, that there will be a lot of occasions for us to use the online teaching methods for continuity of teaching and learning. And this is an opportunity for all of us to learn new skills, discover new tools, and collaborate, share, and strengthen our own skills as teachers and educators to continue with this kind of a practice. I can already see, if I'm thinking ahead, that there might be some occasions where we will probably not call the children to school. Sometimes we call them for revision. We might be able to do that online. Collaborative meetings, senior level, when we have on Saturdays or on a holiday, we might move to online teaching now that we've all discovered that that is possible. So elements like this, and of course I can see saving a lot of paper. That is something which I really want to make a note, that a lot of tasks we could shift online, which would save paper, which we are always talking about. So there are some elements of this which I would like to continue, and I'm sure there are many who will agree with me.
And some of us who are parents, on a lighter note, ma'am, some of us who are parents who really want a vacation after this lockdown, will we get a vacation as per your academic calendars? Will we have a Christmas break this year?
Well, there will be some modifications, maybe not long breaks, but one long break, I think summer, that as I shared earlier, I would like to give, and a lot of screen down activities we plan to share, because this 2 months of on screen is totally against what we have been advocating earlier. So, but of course, I really can't predict. If suppose we start work in September, October, then we'd like to continue, give you just a day for Christmas. I really can't say. At the moment, it is so uncertain. So I'm not going to stress over what I can't control. I'm going to take it as it comes.
All right. Okay. So my next question is to Anuradha ma'am, Sunita ma'am, and Pia ma'am. It's about mental health issues and the increase during the COVID days. I will give you one example, rather multiple examples, but one is really highlighted in my head. I met this girl online. I've been coaching her for the last 2 years. A beautiful soul, really bright girl. And I met her on Zoom about 3 days back during one of my sessions. She was absolutely disheartened, broken. And I mean, there was no power in her voice, which I used to see. And I asked her what happened. And she said that, sir, this is not happening naturally to me the way it is happening for other kids. And I said, Beta, it's not even happening for all of them. Don't worry. Everybody wants to go out there, go to the school, because school was not only about teaching. It was also about you get to meet your friends. You get to do so much more apart from just the pure academic learning. But she was like, it's just not happening. I am so not used to staying at home for 10 hours at a stretch, and forget about 24 hours. I go to school, I have my hobby classes, and my mom and dad are all working. It was just possibly an odd Saturday or a Sunday when we used to be there, but then also I had some hobby classes. Now I feel that everybody is trying to enter into my life. Now, imagine a 14, 15-year-old using that kind of a statement. What do you have to say about that?
Okay. All right. I think Sunita, you could go on, then I'll.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Anuradha, and thank you, Abhishek. So actually, one of the very, very obvious outcomes, or you can say as a a subsidiary outcome of this COVID-19 and the lockdown, is that people are finding it very difficult to cope with what they have been served. And much as all of us heads of schools have written to parents, to children, have addressed them over their Zoom classes, still it's pretty much theoretical, because what's actually happening in their lives is some of them are even under containment zone. So they're not even allowed to leave their own doors. And children were very used to a sense of freedom coming to school. So it's ironic that I'm saying it's a sense of freedom, because in school we have rules and regulations and consequences of the rules being broken. But suddenly the children, the parents have all realized that they were entrusting their children to us. It's now the other way around. We would like to tell parents that we have now left our students in your care. Please let them come back to us in the same shape that we left them. They are undergoing a lot of disconnectedness. So in school, between classes, they would even meet up with friends over a glass of water. That's not happening now. They were social media freaks. Now it's only the social media, and they have enough of screen time in the course of the day. So actually, parents need to understand that when we talk of personal space, it is the student as well as the parent. Both want this personal space now, and I think we should respect that space. The children are reporting to our counselors. They have been contacting them. They've been telling them about the same issues, Abhishek, that you mentioned just now. And, just telling them that all will be well, don't worry, handle it this way. It does not serve the purpose in the case of a teenager. So I think, and even the little ones, they are fine. They're not allowed to go out to play. That's a huge outlet that they've been deprived of. So everywhere, if you look around, it's a feeling of discontentedness and lack of structure in their lives. So actually, if a parent works towards a structure, make sure that the children get up at a certain time, make sure that they have bath, they have breakfast before school starts. Most schools are starting around 8:39, not before that. So I think bringing in a sense of structure and a timely lunchtime, etc., would help children. They are affected. We cannot deny that. And there's already been a lot of talk around this with Dr. Samir Parekh, with Dr. Jitendra Nagpal. They've been talking about this. There've been webinars. I'm sure parents are attending, teachers have been attending, we've been attending. So I think we have a lot to take away from there, understand it and change ourselves as parents, as teachers. When we start a class, maybe we should look at, a initial connect session like we're doing in our school also. I'm sure everybody is. We're all doing the same things. And a little connect session with the children so that, seeing the teacher and, a sense of routine sets in is going to help them.
Right. It feels so heavy inside when I hear that educators want parents to know that we have handed over our students to you guys. Please take care of them. Ma'am, before you answer, Anuradha ma'am and Priya ma'am, I want to just, and this is just coming right now and I'm unable to stop it because this was such a heavy statement for me to hear from an educator. Why is it that the message is not going out to the parents? Is it that the communication from the school is not going in the right direction, maybe a different choice of words? Because simply what you are saying right now, though none of you are heading any of the school where my child is studying. So, I have not received any sort of this communication where it would have said, hey, it's my child. I've handed over to you for next few months. Take care of the kid. Why is the message not going out, Anuradha ma'am?
Yeah. Good evening, Abhishek. So, essentially taking care of the children, both at the end of the school and at the end of the home, everything has changed completely. At the moment, where the parents were concerned whether we are taking good care of children in school or not, the tables have completely turned. And I'm sure there are a lot of notes which are going home. We've been sending films, we've been sending messages. I have seen very, beautiful videos on YouTube where the teachers are showing their care and concern for children and ensuring that they are taken good care of, in terms of their mental health. When we are in a zone of uncertainty, first of all, it is very important for us to accept what is going on and then look for the right solution. So, as an educator, as a principal of the school, what I would like to convey to the parents here is that, let's accept what the reality is and contain and create a certainty out of this uncertainty which is going on at the moment. Do not pressurize children, understand them, give them their space at home and allow them to learn new things. Let them get their quotient of happiness, which is very, very important. So minimizing stress, reducing stress out of their life and helping them learn new things, creating a timetable, which not only is about studies, which is also about what they were not able to do so far. So striking the right balance, I'm sure, will help. And I partly agree with what you are saying, Abhishek, but not completely. I feel a lot of parents are completely buying the care that the school has for the children and are understanding that, the importance of the children being in school and learning from their educators and, the online learning not being the only way or the new normal. Definitely.
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you, Abhishek. Can you hear me, Abhishek?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there's a beautiful message which is going on WhatsApp, and I think every parent needs to read that. I'll just quickly read it out. It says, "Dear parents, don't stress about schoolwork. In September, I'll get your child back on track. I'm a teacher, and that's my superpower. What I can't fix is social emotional trauma that prevents the brain from learning. So right now, I just need you to share your calm, share your strength, and share your laughter with your children. No kids are ahead, no kids are behind. Your children are exactly where they need to be. With love, all teachers from the earth." So that is a beautiful message that I got yesterday, and I think all parents need to read that. And Abhishek, I truly believe, our parents need counseling right now. They need to be counseled. And we've been sending a lot of notes from Iran International School to our parents, how to deal with this time. And a lot of tips have been given to them, especially for teenagers, they need to be given this space. There are times that they would like to reach out with their friends, and that's going to be through your social media. They would be having their, video conference. Encourage that. It's okay, once in 2 days, 3 days, if they reach out to their friends, they talk to them, it's nice, and we don't have to be like all the time on their heads. Of course, as we've just shared, let's have a well-structured, timetable. Let's parents sit together, make a timetable, and have your me time, your fun time, your academic time. Have everything put up there, so that kids can beautifully mold up their day. And of course, parents need to be very positive. That's the role of a parent, because children are facing this for the first time, and they don't know what's happening, right? So as adults, I think we need to be very, very positive, ensure they be calm, and engage them in a lot of activities with you. And definitely, I think students are definitely going to take it very well and enjoy during this time, the family time, because believe me, I think every challenge, gives way to opportunities. And definitely the challenge that we're facing to with COVID-19, the opportunity here is family time. Connect with the family. It's a beautiful time where we sit down as parents, talk to our children, play board games with them. Take out a 20-minute time, have that one-to-one time with your children. 20 minutes, switch off, your mobile, switch off your television. It's going to be a virus-free time. And just be with your children, play with them, discuss about celebrities, discuss about their favorite topics. And I think definitely children are going to have beautiful memories with this COVID-19, and
Wow, thank you, thank you. It reminds me. Aditi ma'am has been kind enough to give me her time. Anuradha ma'am has been kind enough to give me her time. And every time I talk to them, they tell me, how much time are you spending with your child? And it's so wonderful that you guys always want us to spend time with our children, but in our own rat race, we end up doing the wrong way. And possibly this is that reflection time for all of us as parents. To possibly figure it out. Now, another important thing that I want to tell you was that you are making my questions go haywire, because somehow, whatever I end up asking, you go and answer even the next question. And no wonder that you are teachers, that you know what will be the next question and you have already answered. So I'm going to skip the next one, which was about one parenting tip, because you have given many right now. And let me just quickly understand, there are some parents who have been writing to us, especially to me, regarding the new admission cycle. So just want to understand that from your perspective, Rupa ma'am, are the school admissions on? Are you taking fresh admissions, or you have deferred them? How is it?
So Abhishek, for us, the admissions go around through the year. And we are definitely taking admissions. The fact that the schools are closed and we are not physically present there does not impact, because earlier on also we were taking admissions online. We have a lot of parents who are relocating either from foreign shores or within the country. We have a system in place where we do the online assessment, the entry criteria for that particular grade, have the teachers meeting up the child on a one-to-one basis for interactions. I do my interactions online. And the good news is that, yes, amongst all this, even during closure, we've had about a good number of admissions, because parents wanted the children to join for the online classes. I think across in the other parts of the country, the classes are going on, but definitely the NCR region is totally into it. It has its hands totally up on the online classes, and parents who are moving this side or intend to move have signed up, taken admission in schools.
Wow. Okay, and Sunita ma'am, in your school as well, the admissions are on. Are you taking interviews? I do not know how it works, but if you guys are taking interviews, is it happening online? What do I tell to the new parents who want to take
Yeah.
up?
Yeah, Abhishek, admissions are on. Parents apply online, and we arrange for interactions through Skype. And we have interactions with the parent, the child, and we go ahead, we see their report cards of the previous 2 years, and we're going ahead with admissions. If there is a vacancy in a certain class, we are giving it. Otherwise, for nursery and all, it's still on. They can come.
I presume that's the same with all the schools. Now, coming back to Aditi ma'am and Sonia ma'am, before we quickly move to the university, you have been here for some time, but you know how these principals are, right? They have a lot of passion and they would speak their heart out. So pardon me for not managing the time well. Aditi ma'am, Sonia ma'am, I understand that you are understanding the challenges of the students. I understand that. Your statements, full of empathy, full of concern, are loud and clear to me as a parent that you are concerned for my child. I want to understand as a responsible parent myself, what can I do to support you? And what are your problems? What kind of problems are you facing right now?
Okay. So like I said, Abhishek, I like to use words which are very positive. So I don't like when people say troubled times, stressful times. I like to call them unusual times. We've never had this before. We are hopefully never going to have it again. So this is an unusual time. The more we say stressful time, the more stress we create. The more we say troubled times, the more troubled are. That's how I see it. I mean, the words affect me. So all I want to tell parents is that they should put on the shoes of a teacher for just a minute or two and understand that she's also logged in at home. She has her children. Her husband is also working from home. She's also working from home. She has the cooking to do. As a family, they're all coming together and doing all the other family chores. In between all that, she has to prepare the best lesson possible and deliver it to her children. And that is the biggest challenge, because at that time, suppose her own child wants something. But to create that space for herself in that 2 or 3 bedroom house and shut herself in, to be responsible for 35, 36 children whom she has not produced and ignore that one child that is biologically her own, is one of the biggest challenges a teacher faces. And I always say hats off to every teacher on the planet who thinks more about others' children than her own. So that is problem number one. The second challenge is that parents are not able to understand that in this unusual time, there will be unusual situations. They are going on talking about when will be the exams, when will the result come out, when will college admissions happen. We don't know. So just calm down. Whatever will happen, we'll come to know. At that time, if there's a reason, please freak out. If freaking out helps. In my opinion, in so many years of being with school, freaking out has never helped. You have to look at a situation, however unusual it is, and find an unusual response to that. That is my only message with folded hands to every parent who's listening to this and who can pass on the message. Please calm down. Pass on this calm to your child. Enjoy this time together.
Sonia ma'am?
Yeah, Abhishek. I mean, I'm sure everybody has, seen that little joke that's going around WhatsApp that if nobody else, a parent is going to find a vaccine to coronavirus so that they have the schools open. And, what parents are going through is exactly what our teachers are going through. Parents are working from home, so are our teachers. Parents have their children to look after. They are having to do all the household chores and they're cooking and keep their house going. So do our teachers have the same thing. And Aditi ma'am has very eloquently laid out this whole problem. So, and the nature of a teacher is that very often they tend to forget about their own biological children, they worry about their students more than they worry about their own children. And so this, for them, they have both sides to be looking at right now.
Right.
Things have changed so fast, and schools locked down, and I don't think a single school wasted too much time in moving on to an online platform to provide some sort of continuity for our students. So, our teachers had to work overtime to change things around, change lesson plans, to get everything which is more online friendly, because so far we were used to having everything in a face-to-face classroom. And while a lot of technology was being used in many schools, it was not the only thing that was being used. So that became a huge challenge. And I think everyone will agree with me that, with this increased screen time, not only for students, but for teachers as well, sleep patterns are getting disrupted. It's not good. It's not good for your health to be spending so much time on the screen, and therefore it is having health implications for everyone, not only students but also teachers. More so teachers, because we're not of that generation, or most of us are not of that generation where we spent so much time on screen before. Children are more adaptable. They because of social media and being on laptops, they have been more on screen before, but for many teachers it is something very new, and that is also adding stress to their lives. And then the teachers also worry about, are they being able to give that same kind of learning experience that they're able to give in the class? Are they able to transfer that to children who are sitting in different corners of the country, or maybe even the world? Are they being able to reach out to them the way they could when they had them right in front? So these are all the challenges that our educators are facing. I think, again, to end on a lighter note, a lot of parents kept thinking that, they could do the job of the teacher. Well, as the joke also goes around saying that, now is the time for, parents to actually get an understanding of what it means to be a teacher. It's not easy. And kudos to all our teachers who have picked up this challenge and have really run with it. They have, I think, done all our schools very proud with the kind of interactions and the help that they are giving to our students over the virtual world.
Ma'am, I have met, I speak to at least, half a million students every year through various seminars in various schools. And, I've seen very few cases who become stressed because of going to school. Believe you me, I am seeing such a large number of cases of students who are stressed not going to school. And this is what parents need to understand, that this is what all of you are able to do for our children, that students at home are stressed and in school they are happy. And when somebody asks me, is homeschooling fine? I want all the parents to understand that no educator out on this panel will actually ever vouch for homeschooling, because homeschooling just takes away the life out of a child, and cages a child inside a house. Wow, wonderful. Quickly, and this is very, very quick, Monica ma'am and Sunita ma'am, very, very quick. One support that you want from the parent, one support each from both of you, but very quick, please.
I would say the parents, like Aditi and my other panelists have said, just stay positive, stay happy. Children imbibe from the environment they're in. Learning will happen on its own. We will make sure it happens. But what they need to, the kind of environment they have to have for the child is a very positive environment. Do things, fun things together, and have a lot of dialogue. Talk a lot more to the children. They need that, because my counselors are getting a lot of phone calls saying that they're stressed being with their parents and being at home all the time. So they need a lot of positivity and a lot of conversations.
Right.
Yeah. So I pretty much the same, Abhishek. I think all of us, parents, teachers included, must understand that everybody is coping with something that is unusual, and we must take it in our stride, be very, very positive about it, and have a sense of a bit of confidence and trust in the Almighty. Things will be well someday. So it's not as if things have changed so drastically that we can't cope with a short time of unusual circumstances. So just be with your child and listen to them. Don't say no for everything, because I'm more concerned about the very little ones also. They don't know how to cope with this. So I think parents must understand that.
Priya ma'am, you have anything to add here?
Yeah, definitely. I would just like to add in, Abhishek, another thing is the bad behavior that the kids usually tend to do. They are going to be mischievous. So, parents need to know how to deal with it. They really need to be kind there, especially for the younger kids. The moment it starts getting on there, they don't usually do it when they're tired, when they're hungry. So quickly they need to be just, engage them in an activity. And of course, for the teenagers also, you must be very firm. Tell them, the consequences in a very calm manner, that if you're going to do this, this is what's going to happen. Be realistic with your consequences. And so things are going to happen. Kids are also going to misbehave sometimes. Parents need to know how to deal with it. Positivity needs to be there at home. Environment needs to be stress-free, and talk to them about COVID-19. Talk to them. You need to be telling them that the people out there who are helping are, okay, they are really doing a great work for the society. Compassion does matter. And take the suggestions as well. So let's have a very open conversation and use this time for building a very healthy relationship with our kids. They need to having good memories out of this whole thing, as I've just said before. Thank you.
Before I go to the university panel, Hansa and Rubina, Radha ma'am, will one last word from your side as one support, because I see all of you are not being direct enough. I am very sure you're not getting the exact support from all the parents, and this is the time to be absolutely undiplomatic. One support that you feel, because I heard one of you told that, they should be ready when they attend the class in the morning. There is a routine to a child when the child goes to school. The child gets up early, child gets ready, child meets the timing of the bus. And that teaches a lot to a child about being on time. I see, and this is not with other kids, I at times see even with my kid, that he's getting up at 8:10 for a class which was supposed to start at 8:30, and he's just changing his upper so that he needs to look neat and tidy, and he's sitting in front of, and I am responsible because I am letting it be with the child. So as a father who personally feels that he's going wrong, Anuradha ma'am, do you have anything specific that you want from other parents?
So definitely, I want the parents to take greater charge of the situation and ensure that, when we are following a schedule and timetable, make sure that, our children don't fall out of place. And I think here, I would also like to mention the school fraternity, rather the education fraternity, should get the credit of strengthening the mental health of the children. Because whenever I have gone and spoken to my children, I think what they really look forward to and what they enjoy the most in the entire day is being with their teachers and having that association with school. And it is this association, it is this engagement of the children which has definitely helped our children stay mentally strong. So I think that credit is due to school by the parents.
Wow. All right, thank you so very much.
Abhishek, if I can just interject just one point that I have on mind, which I would also like to share with parents, is that, especially in our society where
most homes have been so dependent on domestic help that we have never really got our children used to doing household chores and helping around the house in a time where a lot of societies are not allowing domestic help to enter the societies, and therefore everything is falling on to the members at home, and mostly onto the parents. It's a lesson for our school of life that children also learn to uh, do chores around the house. It'll help them keep a little physically active as well, and it will give them a sense of accomplishment that they're actually learning certain life skills that they will need to do at some point of time when they move to college or leave home at some point.
Wow, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so now let me get to the university experts here. And I'm sure even as principals, you would want to know how are they looking at situations, and what kind of leeway are they going to go and give it to the students this year. So this question is in the order, and this order. I want Ms. Sajdeva, Hansa Sajdeva and Rubina to answer this. How are you planning to evaluate students this year in the light of no IB scores, or let's say a delayed CBSE score?
So we're very clear that many of the students who come to us, Abhishek, are much more than what their marks reflect. So many universities, including, of course, Ahmedabad University, have already moved to what we call a holistic evaluation. This is not brought on by COVID. It is just a better basis, perhaps a more fair basis for us to understand students. So yes, we look at marks. We look at marks in class 10, 11, and 12. We also look at perhaps, a standardized test such as the SAT. We look at their extracurricular activities. We ask them for a personal statement, and we ensure that we meet as many students as we can. The only difference that's happened with COVID is those meetings are not in person. They are all online via Zoom, and we're very committed to that. To us, it's very important that we invest time in understanding that student and don't just look at an unrealistic 99.9% score that they may have brought in. I do want to clarify that for boards like the IB, this is particularly important because an equivalence criteria must be applied given the plethora of boards that we actually have in India. The IB, the IGCSE, the CBSE, state boards. Since we get students from across India, we must be particularly careful that we don't rely on just that mark, and even that mark should be looked at in a context. So that's the impact in terms of just evaluating. It is not that we have stopped taking applications. It is not that we have stopped evaluating applications. Students apply to us with class 10 and 11 grades, and we continue to process their applications as we have done in the past.
Right. Rubina, how is it at Ashoka University? What is
Well, good evening, everybody. It's very nice to be on the panel with such stalwarts of the education world. Abhishek, it's Ashoka being a liberal arts and sciences college. It's only fair that our system is also, our admission process is also holistic. We've always looked at a child beyond them being a student. It's not about them being a student. It's about the individual that they are. Whether it was, so our admission process has really not changed post-COVID, and it's not going to change because it is about the individual. It's much beyond the marks. We look at your extracurricular activities. We're looking at, the kind of things that you've been curious about, the kind of things that form the person that you are. Our essay prompts also aim at that. So it's always been very holistic, Abhishek. Of course, things are different now when it comes to our interview process. Our teams would travel across India and conduct one-on-one interviews. And we are now making sure that We have a very, very smooth transition online, even with students, who are staying or who are living in remote areas. We are doing our best to reach out to them in the, in whatever way we can. Internet facility is not available for everybody, but at Ashoka, we're making sure that we reach out to everyone who has applied to Ashoka.
Wow. So, which means that when I look at a school like DPS Gurgaon or GD Goenka Public School in Gurgaon or Kunst Capsule and International and all the schools which are represented here, and when they say that their school is organizing an MUN or a school is hosting a TEDx or the school is doing so much more, which at times parents start complaining that why is my kid being asked to stay back, which means that the principals and the directors sitting here are no way going wrong, because that is what the universities are looking at, is it?
Absolutely, Abhishek. Absolutely. That's what we constantly say, that at Ashoka, we are not just looking at you as a student. We want to know you as a person. We want to know what makes you curious. What are the things that you dislike? What are your interests? What are the causes which are close to your heart? And this, of course, it goes beyond the textbook model. The Indian education model, unfortunately, is very one-dimensional. So, and that's something that we need to break away from. That's very, very important. We need to give our children the opportunity and the path forward. So yes, it's very important. I'm sure not so many principals will be happy about this because it takes up a lot of class time. I completely understand that.
Most of the principals sitting here, I think, understand and they are at a very leadership roles in various other organizations in statutory capacity or honorary roles. And I think they understand, because, when I meet all of them, every time their school is organizing something new. And it's maybe because they understand that the requirement out there for the university world and the corporate world is much more than the classroom learning. So I think maybe that's the case. Only principals will be able to answer. Now, if I go to Dr. Dodd, you are from the academic domain at university.
Yes.
So this is a pure academic question. Rubina will take the student in, right? Ms. Sajdeva's office will take the student in, maybe give the scholarship as well. What do you do with the child after COVID or during the COVID time? He's in. Are you delivering the entire curriculum, entire semester online?
Well, we did move online because our semester was already ongoing. It took us all of 4 days, and essentially 200 courses were brought online. I mean, everything from dance to design, cinematography, right? All kinds of courses essentially had to make that migration. It was challenging for particular disciplines, but, given the circumstances and all the principals, I think, were in the same boat, we didn't really have a choice. But the thing is, with higher education, what we don't realize is that we've had technology, ever since Coursera and EDX and such rolled out, and that's around 8 odd years ago, and actually Khan Academy is even older. The challenge of what technology has meant to teaching in the classroom has already been a legacy we've contended with. This is not new to us. What is interesting to us now is the value that what we call experiential learning and what liberal arts programs try to do, especially in India. What that value is actually being underlined, because there's only so much you can do with the online model. And we've discovered this slowly, in whatever capacities. But the truth is that we are really we're trying to pull our imaginations in terms of delivering the content online as best we can, but we would need an offline model. So there is no question. I mean, I think what this is unleashing for us is the power of collaboration. How we collaborate might redefine what experiential education is, but there is no question that this is not only going to be, a teacher delivering through a computer model ever. And the liberal arts, I think, especially will be very inventive with how we go about this challenge. As many people have said, we don't know what's going to happen. But in the meantime, I think in terms of the process, especially for admissions, we're discovering that having, online admissions makes us reach out to all kinds of people everywhere in a way that we couldn't perhaps have imagined previously. So there are virtues also to this technology for, I think, all the reasons mentioned. And in the meantime, we really actually hope to resume operations, perhaps in a new fashion, as I think all of us will have to face that. But in the meantime, we are discovering new sort of, bypasses.
Dr. Dot,
I'd like to add in there one point which I think is very significant. We are focusing on pedagogy in terms of its impact, in terms of the impact of COVID-19. But I think what the universities are really looking at is a very different future, one which is completely volatile, very uncertain. What is it that we actually need to teach students today, which is relevant and useful for a very different tomorrow? I agree with some of the panelists that we should not label this as necessarily challenging, but yes, it will be different. It will call for agile responses. So as a university, what we're obsessing about is what do we actually teach students today to face a very different kind of future. And I think that's something that really perhaps we hope to do in collaboration with the schools as we redesign not just pedagogy, but curriculum.
Absolutely.
All right. So as I'm speaking right now, there are 6,342 people, including 14 of us, watching us on Facebook. Now, and this is coming out very, very clear to me, is that in the times of crisis, schools have come together and they are collaborating on content, material, delivery, pedagogy, and you name it. Can I expect the same from the universities, that it's the same happening at your end? Because some of the domains at the higher education level, I wonder how will you deliver it online? Something which is very, very experiential. How will you deliver it online?
Well, Abhishek, so we've had a very seamless at Ashoka. It's been very seamless. We moved our classes online way before, even the lockdown began. And we have actually been conducting a very, very, very interesting series of webinars online, which really give you, an overview into what the Ashoka classroom looks like. One is called the Beyond the Classroom, and the other is Scientifically Speaking. And these are open to anyone and everyone. So this is really bringing the Ashoka classroom out into the world.
Okay.
And then again, I think with what happens with every university is also that because we follow very different curriculum, everybody's curriculums are different, especially with the liberal arts and sciences model. That as well as I think it's also because the faculties are so different. The faculties are different. The curriculums are very different. So that's a bit of a challenge, and I think that will take some time. But it's important at the same time that we open up our classrooms to the world. I think that's a beginning that we can all have for sure.
All right. So my request to all the attendees, almost 6,500 odd who are listening to us, hold back. We are almost in the last leg of the panel discussion, and you definitely want to hear a couple of principles back. So just hold back. Because I can see a lot of messages going on Facebook on other screen of mine, which is saying that how long will it take? As long as we are not done with our questions. Okay, back to all three of you, representing three different universities. One by one, quickly please. Do you see that students will want to take a sabbatical or a break of a year and would possibly say that, hey, okay, let's go back to the university next year. Either which ways, I am not getting the classroom experience this year. What is your application pipelines looking like?
Can I start? Actually, I have to say, it's a very interesting U-turn, I think, for a lot of students considering going abroad for college to now perhaps rethink their options. We're actually seeing a hike in transfer cases from the US, especially back to India. And we are campuses, we're all residential campuses, right? So for our students, there must be ways and means in which we can find a way to maintain social distancing and still carry on with what we do. And so for those reasons, I don't actually see this as being a completely different future. Yeah, I think people will want to come back to college. Their careers are not going to take a sabbatical. They're very sort of dedicated, purposeful, global citizens in many ways. And I don't think that journey ever stops. So, it will continue.
Sachdeva, what do you think? What is your application pipeline looking like?
So one, I agree with Maya, and that students are keen to enter university. But Abhishek, I look at it again a little differently. I think like the schools, the whole point is as universities, we must ensure that children coming out of school this year can enter university on time. Our classes are running online.
Yes.
Our students are completely online. We are running some courses which have ended, where exams are happening as we speak. But the whole point is that come August, whether it is online, whether it is face-to-face, these students must have the opportunity to come to university. And we are committed to that.
All right.
I think Abhishek, one thing is very important here is that it's a mindset shift. In India, people largely don't take their sabbatical in the middle of when they are transitioning from high school to university, largely. And it's a big mindset change which is required in India, unlike in the western part of the world, where people actually take some kind of sabbatical and they try out a lot of other stuff before going to college. I don't think that probably India is ready for that.
Vikram, hold that thought, because I'm going to come back to you. I want to ask one question to the three ladies out here representing universities. And I believe that the power of three is that they are possibly speaking on behalf of the universities and not for individual universities by themselves, all right? You are saying the admissions are going to be on time. You're going to look at the child in a very, very holistic manner. You possibly would not give the entire weightage to the school academics. I understand that. But you will definitely ask the child to write an essay or maybe take a one-on-one interview with the child, right? Any particular cheat code that you can give to the students out there so that they feel a little relaxed? Anything specific you're gonna ask them about, after COVID? So let me put you into the back foot. Can you give me some ideas of the essays you are expecting them to write, or some questions that they definitely? No, I'm serious. I understand, but do you think that you can guide these 6,000 parents or students who are listening to you intensity right now,
right,
onto a track?
Well, Abhishek, we all understand that these are very unusual times. I completely agree with Aditi ma'am. It's everybody's time to be very compassionate, whether it's schools, colleges, parents, students. We all have to be very compassionate, and we're all in this together. There is really no cheat code that I can give, but I can tell you that, and I can reassure everybody here that I think we're all in this together, and we all understand the circumstances that kids are coming out of. We will, of course, stick to timelines. College is important. It's campus life. It's a different kind of life. Children need to get out and experience that. From our end, from the university's end, we are doing all that we can so that everything runs on time. When it comes to, our admission timelines, when it comes to, selecting students and all of that, it will all remain the same. I think the criteria remain the same, but of course, how we are all assessing the situation as a bigger picture, I'm sure that we will all work from a very compassionate point of view.
Okay.
That's
Dr.
definitely it.
Dr. Dodd, can you give me, Rubina really dodged the question. No wonder that, she's possibly handling applications. So can you give me some cheat code for 6,500 students listening to you right now?
Yeah. So, and many universities have online SAT tests or other application scores, which in liberal arts and other such programs, I think, are really not the determining factor. We are still sussing out curiosity. At Flame, faculty actually do admissions. I'm doing admissions tomorrow. We'll do online interviews. We're listening. I think empathy is the key word. We're still looking for what we've always looked for, which is a combination of curiosity and smarts and problem solving. right? So in every sense, we do try to make candidates comfortable, as we've always done, and kind of make them answer certain questions that tell us who they are.
Sachdeva, I have still not got my answer. I was looking for a very specific cheat code. Will you be able to give me one for my students? Please do not disappoint me.
So line one of this is the best cheat code is forget about cheat codes. Right? I think the time has come when they must use this pause that the world has gone into to really rediscover themselves. We've heard from all the various schools how they really see these children as so much more than exams. And you know what? So do we. I'm pretty sure I speak for Maya and Rubina, who I know as well, that we have moved beyond cheat codes. What we really want to see is those wonderful students that parents and principals and teachers and coaches have encouraged and allowed to flourish. Come to us, whether you're looking at physics or finance or philosophy or a combination of those, and feel free to stand tall and be at your best. We really want to see all that you've been through in 12 years of education, not just the board marks. I hope that suffices.
I don't know about you all, but this is a big learning exercise for me, how to dodge a question. I can tell you that. Okay, so I'm down to my last two questions. However, I will still not leave three of you, and this is coming off the head right now. I'm a career coach, counseling, talking to so many kids out there in this country, okay? I have three questions. Just say a yes or no, whether you will ask them or not, okay? Since you are not giving me questions, just say a yes or no, whether they are expected to be asked or not. One, and this is possibly gonna guide the kids in the right direction and maybe utilize them, maybe pushes them to utilize this COVID break in the right manner. Question number one, will you ask them how did they use the COVID break, or how did they engage themselves into the COVID break? Is that expected? You can just say expected, not expected. Yes or no is also okay.
Sure, we could.
Rubina?
Yeah, it might.
Dr. Dodd? You're on mute, Dr. Dodd. You are on mute.
Yeah, sorry, we just say, are you safe? Are you well? We're more concerned about that. So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Vikram, coming to you, and this is my penultimate question to the entire panel before I go back. And please be ready with the one message that you want to give, because after Vikram, I open the house for you to give one message to everybody listening to you, almost about 6,500 people listening to you right now. Vikram, you are creating, and I heard the university saying that they are going to look at SATs. Two questions. One, for international students who are taking their APs right now, are the APs going to be still as relevant when they are from home? Will the scores be looked at the same way? What do you think? And this is from the international perspective.
Sure. Abhishek, that's a very good question. And before we actually went online with the entire AP exam, we evaluated a couple of things. One is definitely we actually reached out to these candidates who were across the world. There are close to around 3 million students who write AP. We reached out to them and we asked them a question that whether we should continue with the AP exam or should we cancel it this year in the light of COVID. And we got a humongous response from all the candidates across the board that they would like to give an AP exam because they have prepared for an exam for the entire year, almost an entire year. And hence we thought that it will not be good on our part if we don't offer AP online. And hence we have taken that route of offering AP online in May 2020. On the other side, we reached out to all higher ed institutions across the board to understand more about whether AP will be seen this year in the same light as what they have been seeing in the last few years, because we are offering AP online, which is a 45-minute test, unlike the usual test. And large portion of higher ed institutions across the globe have given us an overwhelming response that they are going to look at AP scores in a similar fashion as they are looking at AP scores in the last few years. So we are very confident that candidates who are writing AP in May at home, they will get the credit which they have been getting in the previous years in 2020 and 2021 as well.
And while you are creating this, Indian Global Alliance, I'm not getting the name right. You are, and as College Board is really working to get this alliance in place. Are you also talking to Dr. Dodd, Rubina, Hansa, and the other university experts that will there be a day when kids in India will get credits for APs? Will we see the day like that anytime soon?
That's again, Abhishek, very interesting question. And all the India Global Higher Ed members. So now SAT is accepted by 35 higher ed institutions in India to
35.
enroll.
So
35
institutions, you do not need to write their entrances.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to write that test. You can just write a SAT and apply to this 35 institutions.
You're saying that all these universities will treat the SAT on par with their entrance.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Ahmedabad University, Flame University, Ashoka University, all the three representatives from these universities are here and they are using SAT in the same light as all other international universities. And if you have taken SAT, they are waiving off their own entrance exam. So you don't have to write Flame's exam or Ashoka's entrance test if you have an SAT score. But coming back to your question with respect to AP, whether the Indian institutions are also going to look at AP and provide credits to the candidates who have taken AP, that's actually more of not a university question, but it's more of a regulatory question in India. So AP is not recognized by AIU, which is the Association of Indian Universities in India. And if till the time AIU doesn't recognize it, it will become very difficult for universities to offer a credit for AP in India. And hence, AP currently is not looked at by universities to provide credit in India. But if you have taken an AP and if you are writing something on your application with respect to AP, I'm very sure Hansa, Rubina, and Maya can talk about this. The application of that candidate is viewed very differently because AP is a very rigorous course, and all three admission professionals here understand that, and AP is an added bonus to your application.
All right. Okay.
Abhishek, I had one question for you because as you said, and I know it, that you are doing a lot of work with students across the board. What do you think that the COVID will have an impact on career change trends, or you think that new career types will emerge? Have you heard something with respect to that? As parents and students are inquiring something like that, because everything is moving online. I know it's temporary for the time being, but once COVID is over, a lot of industry we'll see a lot of change in many industries. So what are your thoughts about that?
Okay, the first thought is that I was the moderator and you were the panelist. So that was the first thought. Okay, and you have put me onto the back foot. All right. So my take is, but on a serious note, Vikram, I think that yes, world will significantly change. Maybe the education will come back to brick and mortar because it's not about just learning. It was also about experience. It was about getting ready for life. If the child does not go out and meet other children in school or in college, generally I tell people that there is no knowledge without college. You have to hit the college, okay? So if the child does not go and have a peer-to-peer interaction, the child is not ready for life. But having said that, I do see a lot of careers coming up. And this is especially considering the fact that, governments and private sector both have realized now that it was great to send a craft to Mars. It was great to think about capturing the moon. But it was not right to spend less money, less effort, less energy, less resources on finding treatments to the problems. Our budgets at some of these institutions is so negligible that we were not focusing on it. And it's for the first time that the best of the governments across the globe have realized that there could be something which could risk the humanity. There could be something which could topple the governments, and people could be out on the road fighting with each other if things go really, really worse. And that's when I think that a lot of public-private partnerships will be seen in fields like bacteriology, in virology, in epidemiology. The research will require people and the manpower and the dollars coming in. I was just doing some research online and realized that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is raising about $2 billion only to dedicate itself to research on these, COVID family of viruses for future, because you never know if this happens 6 months down the line again, or if something else comes up. So I really feel that, microbiology, bacteriology, virology, epidemiology, biotechnology, these are the careers which will definitely be in demand, and people should look at it, not because they're going to be only the lucrative careers, but yes, they will see a lot of effort both by the public as well as the private institutions, because it is the need of the hour. So that I hope that answers your question. Now, coming back to all of you one by one in the alphabetical order. First, my mentor, my role model, Aditi ma'am. One message from your side to the students.
To students and parents together, and to teachers, to everybody.
Okay.
Count your blessings. There's so much to be thankful for. Don't look at what is not there, that we cannot go out. Be grateful you have a home to sit in. Don't look at, will there be exams or not? Look at the online classes right now. So don't look at the general, you start feeling down the moment you look at, I don't have this, I don't have that, this is not happening. Look at what is happening and make the most of this time. Like somebody said, use it to cook, use it to clean, use it to paint, draw, write, dance, sing, do lovely things, and count your blessings. Stay safe.
Thank you, ma'am. Anuradha ma'am.
I'll just take further what Aditi ma'am just said. Use this time as an opportunity to rediscover, reconnect, rebuild.
Wow.
Trust the human spirit. It is unfathomable. Be like a cork that floats in the ocean.
Wow. Okay. Mr. Deva.
So I'd say specifically, let's not forget too quickly the lessons of COVID-19. Perhaps in all that we've seen in the last few weeks and months, there is actually immense learning and much that is also good. Perhaps we should treasure that going forward. One word to your parents, Abhishek, all the parents who are sitting out there. I think we don't fully understand the impact that a period like COVID will have on students. You've always listened, listen a bit harder. You've always tune in a bit more. And let's just make sure that we stay connected to these students through the remaining part of this period.
Amazing. Okay. Miss Monica Sagar ma'am.
Yeah, I think everyone is already saying what we all want to say. So collectively, I would ask the parents to trust the schools. They've entrusted the schools with their child. This is just an aberration. It's for a short period of time. Please trust that teacher who, is not a performer, not used to, not trained in online teaching, but still diving deep into, in the deep end. Please trust the school. Please trust the educators.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I believe that the words that all of you are saying is actually representative of all the schools and universities in India, because you are the stalwarts and you are the icons. And I hope that parents are listening to this. Dr. Dodd, over to you.
Yeah, no, I think we live in such distracted times. There's such an overload of news. If we can also use this time for some contemplation, and I hope that that quiet contemplation shows up in the essays, as you mentioned earlier. I hope students are actually suddenly being afforded time to just think, and if that happens, we're happy.
Ms. Sharma, Ms. Priya Sharma, over to you, ma'am. One message for the parents and the students.
Abhishek, I would just say a message to all of us: let's celebrate being alive. And that's we should be feeling blessed that we are there. We have our homes here, and we are putting our best efforts across. We are enjoying life during even this COVID time. Sitting at home, spending a lot of family time. Also, I would like to just tell the parents, make your students, let your children feel important. Love them, let them feel secure, and spend a lot of family time with them. And all generations, if you have 3 generations in your home, it's a beautiful time to reconnect and connect with each one of them. So I think let's make the most of it during this time.
Ms. Rupa Chauhan, Rupa ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, I think everybody said it all, but I'd just like to add, well, there's no going back. There's going to be some change in all of us when we emerge from this. So let's take up the challenge, convert it into an opportunity for tomorrow, and let's use that as a powerful tool.
Wow. Okay.
That's what I would say to all of us.
Thank you, ma'am. Rima, ma'am, last words.
Yeah, okay. While the world around us is falling apart, let's not lose focus. Let's try and, stay calm, as everybody has already said, and our adaptability quotient needs to be very high at the moment. And something what you said, Abhishek, is now worrying me as an educator, that I'm worried if this will pass and life will get back to normal. I hope all children will come to school on time. They will get used to getting up late. So parents, please maintain a structure at home. Don't let it be like a holiday for them, getting up late. There has to be some discipline maintained at home so that when life gets back to normal, it's not a very difficult transition for us.
I don't know about others, ma'am, but I'm going to do it. I promise I'm going to do it because I need to face all of you every now and then. And I'll not be able to look at you if I falter apart. Rubina.
Well, one day at a time, be very, very compassionate, take one day, each day as it comes, trust the process. This is a phase, it's not permanent. This is not what life is going to be. Life will be slightly different, but we're not going to be confined to our homes. I guess look at the bigger picture. We all have to focus at the bigger picture. We all have to be reflective. We all have to look within before we can really, assess or predict the future. And to all the parents and the principals and teachers and all the students, in fact, colleges are waiting. We are waiting to have you all back on campus and for you to all begin your college life.
Wow, wonderful. Sunita ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, Abhishek, I think pretty much everything has been said. However, we all talk about change being the only constant in life. And yet when this change came, we all happened to get foxed. So I think we must all accept the fact that this change is going to bring about something for the better. And we look forward to what life is going to be like after COVID-19.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sonia ma'am, your chance.
Yeah. My parting words would be that, we have spoken of giving students space and, letting them have some me time. But I think parents also require to take some time out in the day and either meditate or be mindful or do anything that will be their me time, because there are so many fears and worries that even parents have right now. And if they don't take that time out for themselves, it will impact their relationship with their children. So me time for parents, me time for students is very important.
Vikram.
I would say have faith, because this shall also pass like all other things which has happened in life. So stay calm, have faith, and enjoy this time, because I don't think that this time is ever going to come back again where you are boxed in a room or in a house and doing stuff on your own or with the help of your parents and teachers online.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so 6,582 at the peak were the listeners across 10 cities in India. Thank you so very much. I really value the fact that all of you took out almost 2 hours of your life and gave it to this cause. Both on behalf of INACE, International Alliance of Counselors and Educators, and high school moms, I thank you so very much for coming out there and comforting thousands and thousands of parents, making them understand that assessments are the last thing on your mind, making them understand that it's learning which is more important, making them understand that things will go back to normal. We are humbled by your gesture of joining us today. And I personally look forward to all your support even in the future. Thank you so very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Be safe.
All of you, you too. Bye-bye.
On behalf of the panel, Abhishek, thank you for bringing us together.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so very much.
Very nice, very enlightening.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Pleasure interacting with all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.